Warning. This show contains adult political themes and language. Liberals and little children should cover their ears.
Welcome to Liberty Never Sleeps, where negativity never sounded so good. Now here's your host, Thomas Purcell.
Good morning, and welcome to the Liberty Never Sleeps Patriot Podcast, the most banned podcast on social media. I'm your host, Tom Purcell. You can follow the show at our website at libertyneversleeps.com, where you can find links to us on all the social media sites. The show is available to subscribe to on iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, or your favorite streaming device. Make sure to subscribe to our show on one of these services and hit the little bell button to get daily updates. Good morning. Before I begin, you've been probably wondering why we didn't return immediately after January 3rd, as I promised. I had over 1,100 emails from listeners wondering where I was. They were all, the FBI grab you. Are you all right? You know, did you take the vaccine and drop dead? That kind of thing. I'm fine. All right. Well, not so fine. This show is going to go on a hiatus for about 90 days. Over the Christmas vacation, I had a small problem with my gallbladder. I'm not going to get too specific about what's going on. I don't want to waste your time with it. Went in for a routine procedure and they discovered something more serious than that. Much more serious. It's going to be a long, difficult road back to recovery. And I will recover at some point and come back and do the show. But right now, I have to focus on my health and my family. As you well have noticed, I've lost weight. That also masked the condition, which is why I went in for a routine over the Christmas vacation. I figured I'll do it now, right? I don't want to upset the show. And I had a lot of time off with it too. I'll go in. And had I not gone in, I would have not known, and it would have been much worse. So it's a blessing in a way, and I look at it that way. But I don't want you to worry about me. I don't want you to worry, oh, he's dying. Oh, I have met with family. I have the best team of nurses, doctors, health professionals that are surrounding me. I have access to the best care in the world. I will go as long as I can, and I will keep you apprised of this. I don't expect the hiatus to be more than 90 days, at which point I will come back and do some shows, depending on circumstances, the chemo and radiation that I have to go through. I don't want to get, like I said, I don't want to get specific about my health, what have I got, where, that kind of thing. It's just going to be a long and painful process. And I need to get the time off and get healthy. And I need to be focused on that over the next 90 days. But I thought I owed it to my listeners both to continue and at the same time let you know where I'm at. I would hope to think that my listening audience would not simply abandon me during this process. From the emails and the contacts that have been reaching out to me, they are not. And as such, I will continue this show at some point. I'm just saying 90 days for now because that's the anticipated period at which I need to do these initial things. I've already had some initial procedures. I've been in the hospital until yesterday on Thanksgiving, at Christmas vacation. I got as much done as I could, but I was at the point where I now had to meet with my entire family, extended family. And so checked myself out, not against medical orders, and met with them and then decided to do tonight's show. It's taping tonight. It will air immediately after I tape it. It will be the last show for approximately 90 days. I have to tell you, over the last 10 years, this has been one of the most enjoyable parts of my life, doing this show. Having contact with my listening audience. Some people say, well, you know, he got a bad break kind of thing. And I don't want to give some sort of Lou Gehrig speech. I didn't get a bad break. I got a blessing. I had doctors sit down and tell me, here's the prognosis, here's how many years you got, that kind of thing. Not many people get that. There was a football player, Buffalo Bills, who didn't get any kind of notification. He's going to be okay, by the way. He got hit in the chest, fell down, and everyone thought he's dead. And it can happen. I've seen 18-year-olds on these news stories drop dead. They call it sudden death syndrome. They didn't get the time to meet with their family, get their affairs arranged, and they never got to say goodbye or, no, I've got this much, I've got that much, that kind of thing. So to me, discovering this during this procedure is a blessing. In the last couple of days, I've gotten my affairs in order, both financial, emotional. My entire family is behind me, and we have resources. Not many people can say that. And so I should look at it from that point of view. I do. And as such, because I'm going to fight this thing with everything that I have, both intellectually, emotionally, economically, and I have these resources available to me, I have the best chance of survival. I'm lucky too because I got healthy before I got sick. I know that sounds stupid, but one of the things working for me is the fact that I'm in shape and I'm young. I have a wife who has been exceptionally strong during this. Another blessing. I have a caring family. They have reached out to me, asked me what I need. I have friends, a social network. There are so many people that go through what I'm going to go through in the next 90 days that do not have that. I have my faith, and I don't believe that there is any reason why you can't treat yourself with both faith and science. I will be doing anything and everything to stop the progression of this disease. And it's not like I haven't been unfamiliar with disease. I was born with a genetic condition that I've been dealing with for the last, I don't know how long, 10, 12, 15 years. All of these things are of benefit. And you have to look at it that way. Because if you say, well, I'm just going to, spend whatever time I have, and you'll end up being one of the statistics. I have no intention of being a statistic. I have an intention of being that one guy. I have the best doctors. I have met with them. All of them. Best nurses. Best care people. They treated me like family. Without saying specifically names, I want to send this message to each and every one of them. You could not have treated me better while I was in my hospital stay or since. You're willing to work with me on a lot of different issues. You've been supportive. So for all of these things, for all of these things, I'm grateful. I have no illusions about the dangers of what I'm going to face. And that's why I wanted to do this show tonight, to let you know. Don't worry about me. No long faces. I'm coming back. I also felt a responsibility to you to let you know where I was and what I was doing. Especially those who have financially supported this show for as many years as you have. I know it's not a lot of money. It's not the issue. The fact that you've been there is enormous. And I would ask you to continue it during this period. I will continue to write articles throughout the entire period. I just can't do the show. It's very physically demanding, believe it or not. And there are going to be times where I'm going to be sick from the treatments. And you may not see me for a couple of days, but I'll be online. One of the great things about modern telecommunications is I could be online. I could talk with people as I'm getting things done. And I'm not going to do the Katie Couric thing. I hope you join me in this journey. You know, that kind of crap. Here, look inside my colon. Look at what they get. No. All I ask is that you continue to listen to the show. And I will be posting shows, maybe even during the hiatus. I don't know. I have no idea how bad it will be. They'll just pop up on your feed. So keep an eye out. And I'll be online a lot too. Tweeting, messaging. But enough about me today, okay? I'm not going to talk about it again. Much. I want to talk about what's going on in our country. Because if you think that now, facing a long fight and a long road ahead on my health, that I'm going to hold back now, you thought wrong. For those liberals who listen to this show. And let's talk about a little politics. I don't know how long today's show will run. I'm just going to talk off the cuff. Right? I've just got a list of subjects I want to cover. Because it's the last show for a bit. So it may run an hour, may run an hour and a half. I don't know. 2 hours, whatever. The show will post on podcast and video. I will post to YouTube as well. But I'm not going to hold back. There's always things that you like to say, but you don't say because, yeah, well, this might get me to fuck it. What have I got to lose at this point, right? What are you going to do to me? Because I got a lot to say about what's going on. Let's take a break. All right? I can tell you now that I feel better today than I did when I was going through what I was going through with the throat. And it's not, by the way, it's not throat cancer, okay? But I feel better today than I have been in the last 6 weeks, okay? So let's get to it. We'll be right back after this brief break. I'm sure you've all been watching what's been going on in the House. Kevin McCarthy put forth his name for the leadership position with the new Congress. He did so knowing full well he did not have the votes, with the presumption that, oh, I might lose the first ballot, but they'll eventually go along with it. Well, he was wrong. Kevin McCarthy does not have the votes to be Speaker of the House, and should not be. He has failed his constituency and the American people on a number of different levels. He mismanaged funds, he mishandled elections, and as a result only got a narrow margin. Had he handled the election properly, he would not be in the position that he's in. And that's how it works in this country. It doesn't mean, well, I got most of the votes, and so therefore everyone needs to go along. No, you don't have the votes. Okay? That's how it works. The 20 or so people, arch conservatives all, who are not voting for you, have every right to hold it up for 1,000,000 fucking ballots. If they don't want you as speaker, that's it. You can go as many times as you want. Oh, we were supposed to get this done. We have important work to do. No, you don't. You have one job as a conservative, to limit the spread and growth of spending and government creep into Americans' lives. And you have demonstrated that you cannot do that. You are part of a deal that spent $1.7 trillion that we need to borrow from people that are openly attacking this country. That's my opinion. Oh, well, these 20 people can't hold things up. Yes, they can. That's how the framers set it up. Just like our electoral college, just like our voting system. The framers fully intended that if there's a group of people who don't want you as speaker and you cannot reach a plurality, you don't get to be speaker. That's how it works. It's not a democracy. It's not like, well, we got enough or we got the most. No, you have to have a number. You didn't get it. Set the fuck down. Let's get somebody else in there who maybe can. And we'll have ballot after ballot after ballot until you either work out a deal, which you should be doing. I'm not privy to those conversations. Or you get somebody else who everybody will agree to. That's how it works. I'm tired of hearing from people, both right and left, well, they shouldn't hold up the process. No, this is the process, folks. I hope those 20 people don't change their mind because they get bullied. If they change their mind, that's one thing. They say, well, maybe it's a good idea to go along. Some have. Some haven't. Some have walked away from Kevin McCarthy. But that's the process. You don't like it, they leave. Quit your job. I've said this to people who work at a place and go, I don't like working here. Well, why'd you take the job? The boss is tough on me. I'm not making enough money. Quit. Other people are lining up for that job. Don't complain to me. So I don't want to hear anymore, well, he's got 200 and some odd votes, he should get the rest. No, he shouldn't. Not if those people don't want to vote. They could stand up there all day. Just as I was going to tape, Matt Gaetz nominated President Trump for the Speaker of the House. See, I don't think he'll win, of course. Why not? Maybe he'll be the number one vote getter. Maybe we convince him. Maybe we convince some of the people on the McCarthy side. And that's the problem. The people that are voting for McCarthy are because he owns them. And not because they're doing it for ideological reasons. And the 20 people that are holding up are demonstrating that to the American people. They're not voting for Kevin McCarthy because he's going to be the best man for the job. They're voting for Kevin McCarthy because he's promised them things and give them things. That's why they won't change. Oh, the Republican Party is looking silly. No, the Republican Party is looking healthier than it's ever been. There are people that are willing to stand up and say, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to play that game of deal-making, bargains, and watching the country go through the toilet. $1.7 trillion, man. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Well, if they sit down and they go, well, we'll vote for you if you give us ABCD or DCF. Okay, that's fine. I would like them to be sitting down and talking every night. I don't know if they are or not. From reports, it's kind of chaos. That's not a good thing. That is not a good thing. They should be sitting down and talking and saying, we need this. We need a balanced budget amendment. We need that. That's good. If you don't want to do it, fuck them. Well, we'll ballot to ballot. I support every one of those people who say, I'm not going to vote for Kevin McCarthy because A, B, C, D. Okay, great. You're right. I wouldn't care if they stood up there and said, I don't like Kevin McCarthy because the ties he wears. They have a right to do that too. I've put forth a couple names. Okay, let's roll a ballot. Let's see. Now, I would have liked to have them do this beforehand because, they've been meeting, right? And saying, well, we're Kevin McCarthy. We're Kevin McCarthy. Okay. Well, that's why you hash these things out before it gets to the vote. We waited too long. We screwed it up. He should have never gone to this point. Well, we had to because, well, okay, fine. Then you're going to get embarrassed because you got the votes. Simple as that. What have they been telling every Trump candidate who didn't get the votes to win their respective states, like Kari Lake, others around the country? Oh, you don't have a right to say you should concede. No, I'm not going to concede. Oh, they're election deniers. They're not election deniers. They have a right to pursue every court availability that they can. Kari Lake's now going to the Arizona Supreme Court to appeal her decision. Good for her. Whether I believe that she got the election stolen or rigged, that's irrelevant. She has that right. Just as those 20 have the right to stand up in front of America and say Kevin McCarthy does not deserve this position. And I agree with them. He doesn't. He's not been an effective leader for the GOP. Oh, he's been real effective for the establishment to the tune of $1.7 trillion, to the tune of submarining Trump candidates across this country. That's for fucking sure. No, there's no doubt about it. How come Republicans who were not Trump candidates won, and how come Trump candidates lost? Well, there's a lot of reasons for it. The squelching of ideas on social media by the FBI, a story which has not been widely reported, and that's exactly what it was. It wasn't social media shutting down conservative websites and shows like this. It was the FBI. And that needs to be talked about too. Kevin McCarthy has not demonstrated an ability to do that. Oh, they're election deniers. We don't want those people. What? I mean, that's like telling a rapist telling his victim, enjoy it because it's going to happen anyway. Well, we don't play that game here. Those 20 that are holding things up don't like the guy. Don't like his policies. Don't get along with him. Fine. As far as I'm concerned, he's another Mitt Romney. Flashy suit, expensive smile, expensive tastes at the cost of the American taxpayer's dollar. I don't like him. I would hope that the 20 stand firm and get whatever it is that they want, either a new candidate or concessions, one of the two. Right, one of the two. He's like, oh, you could be the speaker, but you can't do this anymore. Can't have that done to you. We're not going to let the American taxpayer go deeper into debt than it already has, to the tune of $34 trillion. We're spending more on interest now than we are on Medicare or our defense program. That's outrageous. To sign aboard any deal like that and still stand up in front of America and say, oh, I'm a conservative. No, you're not. I'm a Republican. Well, that I believe. Republican Party is not the Republican Party that I grew up with. The party of Reagan, the party of fiscal conservatism, the party that would stand up to nations like China and Russia, who threaten us daily with missiles shooting over our allies. Ronald Reagan would not have stood for that, nor would the conservative Republicans at the time that I grew up. And the policies of the 20 that are standing up and saying, I don't want Matt Gaetz, I don't want Kevin McCarthy, are holding true to the principles of Reagan. They're not extremists. It's not extreme to say we want balanced budget. It's not an extremist position to say we want a proper national defense where we're not going to be sending money to foreign nations engaged in wars. Those are all basic conservative principles. And the Democrats sure are holding true. They're standing behind their guy, Hakeem Jeffries. Oh, we got the same amount of ballots we started with. Well, I'm going to vote for Jeffries. I'm going to vote for Jeffries. You don't see them running and scattered? I admire that. Teamwork, I admire. Say nothing in the politics. I don't agree with them on politics. But you know where I stand on these things. I stand on the matter of truth. And the truth is the Republican Party is in chaos, but it needs to be. That's the whole thing. That's what they don't get. Yeah, it is embarrassing to look at. Yeah, it's like break out the popcorn. They're on their 12th ballot, right? And it hasn't moved. It's gotten worse for McCarthy, by the way, since the first one. So you don't have the votes, Kevin. Step away so somebody else gets a chance. Because as long as he's sitting on top of those people are loyal to him, right? He's going. This is going to go to forever. I hope they stand firm. I hope we're doing this in 2028, rather than get Kevin McCarthy as speaker. Spending is out of control, and you're feeling it. You're feeling it in the pump. You're feeling it at the grocery bills. You know. There's a guy standing up today. I don't know who it was. Was it Paul? Somebody from Arizona. Paul Gosar? No, it couldn't have been him. He's one of the 20. He says, you know how many people write to me and say they want less spending? And he holds up a blank piece of paper. Bullshit! Everyone that I talk to who's conservative says, well, I don't want spending. We got to get inflation under control, right? If you're right wing, one of the first things that you always say, gas prices, right? The economy, the inflation. It's not a matter of whether you got it. See, this is the mindset of these people. You got to tell me. It's like, no. We vote you in there for certain principles, and you're not holding to them. So, whatever. This is a circus. I don't enjoy it. I don't like it. But bottom line is, if you don't have the votes after a few ballots, you step back. Say, okay, I don't have votes. Maybe somebody else does, right? Jim Jordan, they nominated Jim Jordan, but Jim Jordan doesn't want the job. Well, the reason they're doing that is to throw names out and say, we're willing to accept this person. We're willing to accept that person. Giving the rest of the party alternatives in hopes that they'll break away. But he owns them. So it's going to be a staring contest, right? Until he steps down and goes, okay, I don't have the votes. Let somebody else try. That's the way it should have happened. It's not the 20 that are ruining things. It's Kevin McCarthy. Ridiculous situation. And really what it is we have a decapitated government. There are foreign elements that want this to happen. You have a senile, mentally ill president. Guy can't walk to the podium in a straight line. I can. I'm seriously ill and I can walk in a straight line. Saying all kinds of things. They're not a patch on our genes. The guy's out of control. He should step down too. He's obviously not capable of doing the job. Who's in second command? Kamala Harris, right? She's just inept. She's just an idiot, incompetent. So you have a president and vice president that are incapable of doing a job, and now we don't have a speaker of the House. The American government has been decapitated by our enemies. That's what's really going on here. And you need to be aware of it as a citizen to understand. It's only a matter of time before our enemies make a move. I don't know when it'll be. Next week, next month, I don't know. That's the danger. And that's why people need to start talking about the 20 instead of the 200. Maybe they got a point, right? Maybe Kevin McCarthy should stand down and let someone else get a try and bring back a functional government. Because we do not have one now. Let's take a break. Let's talk about that after this brief break. We'll be right back. One of the things that's been discussed in the last couple of days, a whole bunch of people out there, and you know who they are, right and left, crazies, right? Antifa, other movements on the left. On the right, you got people like the Proud Boys dressing up in battle gear and carrying guns to the Capitol, like it's some genius idea to take up arms against your own government. Not that I don't understand it. I understand both points of view. I've said that many times. I get it. The Antifa, I get it. You're put in an enormous situation with student loans in order to get a decent job that barely pays the student loans. That's essentially slavery. I get it. It sucks. It's a bad system. The education system I've been pounding home about how it needs to be rebuilt, as well as our healthcare system and other systems. Because we've gone away from the original intent. Free market system. People say to me, well, if things keep up, there's going to be a civil war. Keep your powder dry. I got news for you. Civil war has already begun. It's just being fought differently. Every war is fought differently than the previous war. World War II was fought differently from World War I. Korean War was fought differently in World War II. Vietnam, etc. Weapons change, lives, casualties. This war we're in is the same thing. It's being fought in the courtrooms. It's being fought in the metaverse. It's being fought online. That's all. There's still tanks and there's still guns and it's still used. Just like in World War II, they still used mustard gas from World War I. You still use the weapons of the previous wars, but now they may be used in a unique way and they are not the primary weapons. There weren't tanks in World War I. There were primary weapon was a tank, aircraft, Navy. It's changed. World's changing. As world's change, warfare changes, but it's really the same thing. Who's got a bigger stick? And I've told you many times, I don't know how or where or why, how many casualties will be taken in this war. But I do know there will be more to die in this war than the last one. And you're starting to see it. Life expectancy of people is not what it should be. People are catching nasty things earlier in life. Everything from COVID to what I got. Because of a lot of different reasons. I mean, nobody knows. When I was talking with my physicians, it was like, well, how'd you get this? You're not a drinker. You're not a smoker. You live a healthy life. You're exercising. Low carb, high protein diet. How did it happen? Nobody fucking knows. Could be genetic. Could have been exposed to something. I mean, you get exposed to all kinds of things in your environment on a daily basis, and you don't even know it. So why bother focusing on it? What triggered this war? I don't know. I have some ideas about it. But it's already started. Hostages are being taken and casualties are lining up. You could see it in the statistics. You don't see it because the tank doesn't blow up the school building full of children, but you see it when people drop dead on a heart attack on a field, or you see normal, healthy adults get sick for no reason. So you better start fighting it. You better start getting active in your community about whatever is going on. All right? I came to that conclusion 9-10 years ago when I started this. Something had to be done. I said, this is my skill set. This is what I'm capable of. This is what technology is available to me. I started acting, doing what I'm doing. My question is, how many have to die before this war ends? How will it end? I have no idea. But I'm not going to sit back and play video games while it is happening. I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to get involved. You should too. If more people got involved, got educated, and stood up for what they believe in, whatever it is, whatever your ideas are. It's like I would never tell somebody what your ideas should be. But I will tell you this. Whatever your ideas and whatever your politics are, you should fight for it. You should get involved. To say, well, I'm not political. Well, if you're not political, it's still going to affect your life, whether you are or you aren't. That I will tell you. How many have to die this time around? Tens, millions? Hundreds? I was in a hospital ward for the last 5 or 6 days. I saw people have it. When you're in the hospital that long, you see things. People sick, in pain. I would hear it through the walls. I had a private room, but you understand. You can't imagine. As much as I was thinking about my own health, you can't imagine how I felt about all those. I mean, I'm not in any pain now. Still aren't. Doctors did a wonderful job of it. Whatever I had going on right at the time, they were able to fix. But there were people in that hospital and they weren't getting fixed. It's nobody's fault. It's just they were in that situation, in pain. And those nurses, saints, all of them, angels, for doing that work. Running from room to room. I'd call for water or something. And I was mobile, right? I was like I am now. I could talk freely and everything. I was a little tired during all the stuff they were doing. I say, anything I can do to help, I can get my own stuff. It's like they would bring my food tray out, right? And they put it outside the door, call your nurse, it's ready. I just go get it, right? I wasn't going to ask them for anything unless I had to. And they would come in, they would, do the blood tests. They were really nice about it. You don't get any sleep at a hospital. They wake you every 4 hours for tests. It's okay. I didn't bitch. I didn't moan. It's like, what do you need? Oh, we don't want to wake you up. It's like, no, go, get me healthy, But the war's just begun, folks. You think it's going to start soon. It has. It's not going to be fought with a bulletproof vest and an AR-15 in your city streets. Not yet, anyway. Do something about it. Get involved, whatever your politics are. Go to meetings. Say, well, I could do this. I could do that. Yeah, I got to work. I got church. And I got exercise. But I could give it our time to hand out flyers for the candidate I want. I could do that. Do it. You're fighting the war now. The wars are fought, like I said, with courts and ballots. It's not fought in the old ways. People who lose wars fight battles the old ways. People that win them fight them in new ways. Or think of new ways to fight it. Brilliance. That's the future. Be a part of it. Let's take a break. I want to talk about this Rick Santos thing. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. We'll be right back. So Santos, Republican, just got elected to the House, right? He's keeping a low profile right now, of course, because of what's going on. So this old joke it's poor taste, but it's funny. Who was the only guy smiling after 9/11? It was that senator who got caught with his intern, the intern turned up dead. I don't remember his name. He was the only guy smiling after 9/11 because nobody would talk about him anymore. Before this whole thing with McCarthy, which is on every news station every night, shouldn't be. Santos was accused of lying about his background and not just fudging, right? Going to schools that he never went to. It's easy to check up. And so they said, well, he needs to step down. Why? He hasn't even done anything yet in Congress. Congress hasn't even, we're still trying to pick a speaker, right? God, he should step down. He should step down. Maybe he should. Said some things and about his background that just weren't true. But he's not the first one. Remember Sidney Blumenthal? I think that was his name. Lied about going to Vietnam. He served. He just never went to Vietnam. It's a fudge, right? Served during the Vietnam years, but never went to any kind of combat post. But then again, neither did Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg went to Afghanistan. He was a soldier in Afghanistan. But you know there's a difference between marching up and down a road with landmines and sitting in a bunk doing computer paperwork as a soldier. You know full well. If you've served, you know. There are guys and there are guys. Guys you don't want to meet in a dark alley. Sidney Blumenthal was one of those people. He was the guy there. Nobody asked him to step down. Nobody said he should be there. What about Joe Biden? He's president of the United States. He's still doing it today. Well, I had my grandfather for World War I. I don't know what the fuck story he's got. He's a poor guy. He really should be in a hospital bed. He lies on a daily basis about his background. He makes up fudge stories all the time. Some of them just nobody can track it. I was a University of Pennsylvania professor. He never was a professor. He never taught there. I think he gave a speech there once. I was a professor. Maybe he thinks he was. I don't know. People lie all the time about their backgrounds to get the job, right? People who go into an office and say, I could do this, I will do this, or I've done that before, do that. Why? Because they want the job. They know they could do the job, right? Well, they fudge things on their resume or outright lie. I'm a really smart guy. I could use Microsoft Excel and all that. I've never been trained on it, but I know how to use it. So what do I put on my resume? I could use Microsoft Excel. I could use this program. Really, technically, I can't. I've never been to a class in my life for Microsoft Excel, but I could use it. Can I use it as well as somebody who's trained to use it? No. But I learn fast. I know if I got the job, I'd be an expert in it in no time at all. So you lie about it. I could do that. I could do this. I could do that. Or you fudge. You know, you have some HR experience. You say, I've had a year of HR experience or 2 years or whatever. It could be checked up on. Most people don't check up all the little details of your resume. They check the basics. Do you have the degree from that university? That kind of thing. Nobody asks them to quit. Unless there's some problem with you doing the job. Nobody's going to ask you to quit. It doesn't happen. And they don't investigate past, your initial investigation of what your actual background is. If you appear that you can do the job and then you get the job and you can do it, nobody says anything. So let them work. Let them do it. It's only a 2-year gig, folks. How hard could it fucking be to stand there for 2 years and raise your hand, yes or no? Right? Let him do the job. If he doesn't work out, we made a mistake with his background. We should have gotten rid of him. No. You know why they're doing it? Because they just want to cause trouble. People complain. He has a background that isn't exactly what he says. So what? What does the Constitution say about the requirements for a representative? Age, right? Right? It doesn't say you have to go to a university. It doesn't even say you have to go to school at all. Hell, we had presidents that never went to school that were great presidents. So what was everybody getting worked up about? I really don't care. It's up to him to decide at this point. He's been elected. It's up for his constituents to decide. If they want to elect a crack dealer as a representative, they can. That's what annoys me the hell out of the most. Well, he doesn't have the qualification. I remember AOC. Donald Trump needs to work his way up to the system, and he didn't have qualifications. Where's that in the Constitution, honey? It's not. And there's a reason why it's not. The framers never intended for a professional politician class. You know what they were called back in the day? A professional politician class? Royalty. We don't have that here. In fact, it always seems to work out best when we don't elect royalty. When we do, look at what happens. Kevin McCarthy, right? Jeb Bush, professional politicians. Hillary Clinton, politician all her life. Same thing. They're the ones that howl the most, by the way. The ones who have all these perfect backgrounds, have the perfect teeth and the perfect suits. No, I want people of all different colors in there. I want people of all different ideas, religions, different walks of life. There were people that, when I was sick, I hate bringing it up because it's just been a monumental thing in my life in the last 5 days because I hate doctors. Not personally. I just don't like going to them. Which is part of the problem. I should have went 6 months ago when I started showing something. I met people of different faiths, religions, colors. All different ideas. Some ideas I didn't agree with, some I did. 2 hours one night with a nurse in my room. She knows who she was. We talked about faith and religion and people. I talk with people of my own faith. Do you know who the one person who didn't have time for me? Knowing my condition. I didn't have time. 5 days I'm in the hospital. Didn't have time. Do you know who it was? It was the chaplain. The guy who's supposed to have time for you. The professional. The guy with the collar and the Bible and all the credentials, went to the right schools, whatever his background was. I never met him. Right? I never met him. I tired of waiting days. I said, you know what? I called the nurse station just one night in just a peak of anger. I called the nurse's station. I go, how about that minister? He's still making... I go, you know what? Tell him I don't want to see him. That he missed his chance. I only wanted 5 minutes of a time. I actually had a religious question that I couldn't answer. I had a Bible in front of me. I just, I'm stumped. How does this work? And I eventually found a passage which helped. That's all I wanted, 5 minutes of his time. I'm not going to bend his ear for an hour and a half. But the nurse, who was tending to a ward of patients who were critically ill, literally running up and down the hall, she found the time. That's why I love the average person on the street. The hard-working guy, the businessman. That's why I have such a distaste for people like Kevin McCarthy, Mitt Romney, professional politician class. What did you ever fucking do? Except take money from me and tell me how bad I was at whatever it was. I don't have the right credential to do what I do. I get that all the time. You didn't have any radio experience. What do you know? You never served at the state level. What do you know about state politics? I knew enough that Arizona, I begged them to change their election laws. Otherwise, they were going to lose the state. And as it turned out, that's what happened. You let these laws stand that you knew were beneficial to the Democrats and were harmful to Republicans who were running for office. That people were not given a fair shot. That it was a slanted floor. And I said, that's your first thing. Fuck all these audits, all this election denial stuff. Forget it. If you're not happy with the process, you change the laws. You don't sit there and complain about it. All you do is all you're going to do is look like a poor loser. But you have that right to do that. That's the way I feel. It's like I was talking with my nurse about COVID. You're talking about, got this, got that, got this vaccine. I've been open with you. I took the vaccines. I just don't believe in mandates, right? It's the same thing. The professional class telling me what to do. I don't want to do it. Well, maybe it's in my best interest. Well, you might die. Well, yeah, I might. That's my choice. My doctors gave me that choice too with my treatment card. I mean, if you don't have time, you can just walk home. Just check out AMA. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. Thought about it. But I didn't. People who are smarter and wiser about things in life who I trust told me not to, and so I didn't. That's the way I work. That's the way America used to work. You listen to people that you trust, people that are experts, people that have the credentials, people that don't. And you make a decision, and everybody's okay with it. Nobody's okay with decision-making anymore. Everybody's got to force everyone what to do. That's a big part of our problem. It's like what's going on with Kevin McCarthy. Those 20 have a right to make that decision. They don't have to give a reason. That's how it works. That's how the framers set it up. We haven't changed it in over 200 some odd years. I don't see any reason why we should do it now. It's worked for 200 years. Let's take a break. I want to wrap up the show. I'm tired. I'll be frank with you, I could talk all night about a number of issues. But I want to wrap it up. All right? We'll be right back after this brief break. Oh, I'm back. Tired. After 10 years, I'm tired too. Tired of saying things to the American people, to my listening audience, and watching the country make the same mistakes over and over. Right? Story of man, isn't it? Mankind, civilizations rise, they fall. And they always fall for the same reasons. They do it to themselves. Main focus has always been on this show about being a better person. Because when you're a better person, society is better people. And societies that are better people don't make the same mistakes that every civilization makes. Work hard, play hard. Love your family. Take care of them first. Stop worrying about the guy over in Ukraine and start worrying about the guy next door who can't get his money together to do his own yard. That's who you worry about. And as I said, I've been very lucky in my life. I've always done what I wanted. And sometimes it's hurt me. I didn't go to the best schools. I went to school, I got my education, but I could have done better. I could have worked harder in the classroom, maybe become a doctor. That's not what I wanted to do. I didn't like it. Did geology for a while. Loved it. Oh, I love geology. Because it encompassed so many things. From astronomy to archaeology. I loved the desert. I loved going out into it. I loved mapping Death Valley is one of the things I did. It was just, I did what I wanted when I wanted. And in the way I wanted, which was a blessing too. Well, if that means I've lived a shortened life, perhaps, that's okay. I can live with that. Quality of life is really important to me. Would I want more years, assuming I can't beat what this is? Yeah, sure. Would I sacrifice anything that I've done to get those years? Nope. Told my doctors that. Hey, I lived a fucking life you wouldn't believe. I've seen things and done things many men have never been able to do. Never been lucky enough to do. I've been blessed with a 20-year relationship. I told them, I'm still on the damn honeymoon. Which is why it's been so hard on her. Not many men could say that. I talked with one lady, really nice lady, the nurse. She says, man, I love my husband. Boy, he's a handful. I hate him sometimes. I said, don't hate him. I told her, I said, I've been on my honeymoon my whole life. My whole married life. She says, how do you do it? I said, I don't know. They used to say to me, you need to work on your relationship. Everybody needs to work on their relationship. I don't believe that. I think if it's right, you don't need to work very hard. I haven't. I don't seem to have. I don't think I have. Although my better half thinks I have, which is probably why I'm still around with her. Life is what you make it. It's choices that you make, how you deal with other people. I've made plenty of mistakes in my life. Things that I regret, honestly. I wish I could go back on some of these people and apologize to them for what I said or did. There's no point. There's no point. All that would do is make me feel better and reopen old wounds for them, right? So why do it? I just keep moving forward. Don't worry about the past. Worry about what you can do tomorrow or next week or next month or next year. You might not get them. There are things in my life that I still haven't done that I would have liked to have done that I know I will not be able to do now. That's okay. I live with that. Should have done it when I could. Can't do everything in life, right? I won't go out crawling on my belly. That's for fucking sure. I won't go out sitting on the sofa. Woe is me. No. Because I have every intention of getting as much out of this life as I can. And extend it as much as I can at the same time. Yeah, I'm like that. I want my cake and I'm going to eat it too. I dressed as I liked, read the books I wanted. I used to get grief from my family. I love Star Wars, Star Trek. You can see behind my cabinet. I love Star Wars, science fiction. I love graphic novels. I used to say, what do you waste your time on that for? I said, what? I said, you got any hobbies? I love jigsaw puzzles. Why do you waste your time with jigsaw? Well, I really like it. Well, the same thing with me. What do you do for leisure? Well, it should be productive leisure. Why? There's some people that live their lives, dawn to dusk, from bed to bed, doing nothing but productive things. Because they're productive, not because they enjoy them. That's stupid. You only got one life to live. You might as well enjoy it. You might as well enjoy it. And that's not to say be completely neglectful, right? You have to be a productive person too. You have to produce something for society and make it a better world. You have to work at a job or build a business. I'm a big favor of building businesses. So I can do what I want and when I want. There's a downside to it too. If you own your own business, it's really hard to get disability. And there have been times when I've worked with other people. I've been miserable working for other people. When I had to report to a job and punch a clock, oh my God. I tried it just because you should in your life. You should try it. Try everything. Don't be afraid to try things. It's how we learn. It's how we get wisdom. Wisdom is more important than smarts. Trust me on that. How come you painted your house this color? How come you did this? So I did what I wanted. Right? I like it. This would look better that way. No, and I like it this way. I like reading these books. I like watching these movies. I like listening to this music instead of that music. And when someone would ask me, well, how come you know this is better music? I don't like it. It sucks. I don't like that movie. That sucks. I'm open about it. You should be too. The world is a better place if people are more open about their things. Oh, it's a lot more contentious. That's for friggin' sure. Right? Look at what's going on up at the house. Those 20 people. I hope they don't change. I hope they don't change who they are. I hope they stand firm until they get what they want. Either someone else or a deal. One of the two. Never give up fighting. That's the worst thing you can do. To quote Clint Eastwood from a movie which I love, The Outlaw Josie Wales. Never give up fighting. Because that's when you lose. And it's going to get a lot worse from whatever position you're in that you're in now. But see, your enemies or the forces that are working against you, whether it be illness or economics or whatever, that's what they want. For you to give up, right? Who's howling the most about the 20 Republicans that are standing up and saying we don't want Kevin McCarthy for leadership? All the friends of Kevin McCarthy. Well, sure, they want you to give up. So that's easy. No, just when you think that you're not going to win is the time when you need to fight hardest. Because when you neither fight nor you win, you lose. Plain and simple. That's just the plain truth of it. That's what he says. And he's right. When you neither fight nor win, then you do lose. But as long as you're fighting for victory, even if you may lose eventually in the end, you haven't lost yet. But I want to read something from you. I've spent a lot of time with the New Testament. You know me. I don't go to church. I'm not religious. But I'm a man of faith. I'm a Roman Catholic. I believe in that faith. And here's why. A very simple reason. It's a stupid reason. It's a reason why, Tom, why are you? I mean, you're highly intelligent. Most highly intelligent people are atheists. At least they tell me that. How can you believe in Bible thumping or prayers that will save you? They might. Got a whole bunch of people praying for me tonight. And I thank them for it. I think they're as important as doctors. Why wouldn't you? Why would you do everything you could? Why wouldn't you accept prayer in your life or God in your life? It's foolish. Why be dressed up and no place to go in the end? I have no idea what's going to happen after. But I got a pretty good idea based on something. And no, you don't hear many people talk about it. But I think it's one of the most logical reasons to have faith in the Roman Catholic faith, Jesus Christ. Here it is. You had 12 guys. Fishermen, tax collectors, average guy in the street, and a number of others. Mary Magdalene. They all said that they saw Jesus Christ rise from the grave, fly over their heads, and ascend into heaven. An incredible story. There could be scientific reasons for it. I don't know. I don't care. One of the things he said to those 12 apostles and others, go out and talk about me and the faith and what I have taught you. I'd say that to you now. Not that I'm comparing myself to Christ, of course, but. And so they did. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter, all of them. Peter himself denied his faith before Christ died, but not after he saw the ascension. So these guys go out, right? Jesus Christ is not just a prophet. He's not just a holy man. He is God. Or the Son of God. Son of Man, depending on what language you use. All 12 were tortured, martyred by various tribes and factions in the Roman Empire itself. John, they say, escaped. Let's have a debate about that. Originally it was reported they boiled him in oil to get him to recant his faith. I think that there was probably records changed because at that time, the time that John was at his end, the Roman Empire was moving toward Christianity, and they were probably embarrassed by the whole fucking thing, right? I mean, how could an emperor stand up and say he proclaims Christianity when it turns out that they martyred his 12 apostles? So there may be some of that, but I'm cynical, right? All 12 refused to recant their stories. All of them. You'd think one, right, facing being torn apart by lions or being boiled in, I mean, can you imagine? All right, here's how you're going to go. We're going to cook you alive. All you got to do is say, I recant. That's not what happened. Oh, he's just a prophet. They allowed them that, to say that he's just a prophet, that he's not really God, that he's just a prophet. Not one recanted. Not one. Now, maybe because they believed what they saw was the ascension and not actually what they say of it. That doesn't matter to me. All 12 believed they saw a man rise from the dead and ascend into heaven. And not one recants under the most horrible. That doesn't happen. So whatever happened, what they saw is what happened. And only the Son of God would be able to do that. There is manifest record of Jesus Christ's healings, teachings. I would encourage you to read them. But this is a copy of the New Testament. They gave me one. I asked for one. They gave me one. Hospital. I have a better copy, but this is handy for the show. I want to read something to you. Because it brought me great consolation in my hour of need. Because I'm going to a better place, no matter how this turns out, right? I may be back in 90 days, maybe back in a year. I don't know. No matter how it turns out, this passage is how I believe people should live. To me, this is the essence of what Christ was teaching. It's not lengthy. You'll have to bear with me. Trust me, it's worth it. This is Matthew chapter 7. Judge not that you would not be judged. For with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged, and with the measure you use it, it will be measured against you. I've lived my life by that. You could do whatever you want. You say whatever you want. That's a good thing. I got that working for me, because I got to have to answer to go to 20 years to no church. I'll answer for it. I'm sure in some way. I've always been baffled by the Lord's need for attendance, but, that's the rules. I didn't make them up. What do you see, the speck that is in your brother's eye, but not notice in the log that is in your own? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when there is only a log in your own eye? You're a hypocrite. First take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. Do not give dogs what is holy, and do not throw your pearls before pigs. If you ever heard that expression, pearls before swine. Lest they trample them underfoot and turn to attack you. It's like, don't waste your time arguing with liberals. That's a good way of putting this, okay? People who don't want to listen, don't waste your time on them. You tell them, you move on. I've always lived by that. You know that. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. All you got to do is ask. What's the worst that can happen, right? Or which one of you, if your son asks him for bread, will give him a stone? Or asks for a fish, will give him a serpent? If you then, who are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him? That's all. All you got to do is ask for forgiveness, live your better life, and your life will be better immediately. He doesn't hold what you've done before against you. That's really the message of Lot's wife. Destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. She turns him into salt. The wife is like, why? Because she looks back. You can't move forward while you're looking back. So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. For this is law and the prophets. He's right. This is Jesus' words. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, but those who find it are few. He's right there. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. He's right. That's why I don't go to church. Not because I hate my fellow parishioners or anything. It's like, I'm sitting in a pew. He waves the Bible in front of you and says, oh, this. And then he goes out and screws you over in a car deal. You will recognize them by their fruits. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? People that treat other people well will be successful in life in a number of ways. I believe that. It's worked for me. So every healthy tree bears good fruit, but the diseased tree bears bad fruit. We're almost finished. Bear with me. A healthy tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can diseased tree bear good fruit. He's right. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Thus you will recognize them by their fruits. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. What does that say? Do the right thing. Don't worry about being perceived as a good person. Be who you are and do the right thing. On that day, many a day will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and cast out demons in your name and do mighty arts in your name? And then I will declare them to you, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. He's right. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man, but who built his house on the house of rock. And the rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew and beat on that house. But it did not fall because it had been founded on that rock. Everyone who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a foolish man who built his house on sand. You've heard that expression before. be a better person, and you can be better to others, and you will profit from it. Maybe not money, right? But you profit from being a better person. Your house will stand stronger when it needs to during a time of a flood or a storm. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and fell, and great fall of it. And when Jesus finished saying these sayings, the crowds were astonished at his teachings, for he was teaching them not as one who has authority, but as one of their scribes. That's the message of Jesus. I'm with you. I'm not telling you because I'm a Pharisee, and I've got a credential, and I've got this teaching, and I walk in these robes and these golden cups I carry, which I only will drink out of. No, everybody has a chance to get into heaven. We're all equal. That's my departing message for this last show. That is what I have imparted upon you for the last 10 years. Be a better person, and the rest will follow. I'm not worried about who's in office or whether Hillary Clinton is doing awful things. I really don't care. Very chilled like that as I talk with this nurse. I don't care. You know why? Because I'm going to go out and I'm going to tell people to be better people. And that's how I'm going to beat people like that. I'm not going to beat Hillary Clinton across a law courtroom. Or these election deniers, as they're called. They're not going to win. So why bother? You go out, send the message, be a better person, treat each other well, and it will happen. The things that you want. The wrongful will go to jail, will be exposed to the American people. The spending will stop. That's the message I've been giving you for 10 years. It's not going to change now. If you were hoping that I was going to recant, I should have been a better person. Fuck no. I could have been a better person, sure. But I'm a human being. I have failings. All I ask is that tomorrow I will try and be a better person. And I know I'm going to fail even tomorrow. I've failed already in some ways. But I'm going to be a better person tomorrow. You be a better person tomorrow, too. Or if you can't, try. My mother used to raise me with an expression, which interestingly enough is in Star Wars. Do or do not, there is no try. That's right. Just do it. Wake up tomorrow, be a better person. The world will recognize it, and you'll gain wisdom from it about the people around you and how they relate to the world. I'm out of time. I'm out of breath. I will see you again. I just don't know when. I have to help focus on my health right now. Have to. I can't spend the hours reading and studying subjects anymore. I can't. I have to spend many hours building back my strength and my health. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to try. I'll be back. And in the meantime, I'll be writing articles probably for the weekends and stuff when I have available time in between treatments. I'll write a column or two and talk about all these subjects that I've talked about. Talk about a little bit about Jesus Christ, a little bit about, and like I said, I'm not a Bible thumper. I don't want to force it on you. All right? I find the words of the Quran quite beautiful too. But I'll be back. Farewell, everybody, for now. Take care.
You've been listening to the Liberty Never Sleeps podcast with your host, Tom Purcell. Negativity never sounded so good.